Welcome to Drum and Drummer, a podcast focused on drums, drumming and drummers. I'm George Pickering and that's Ben Winty, and we are both professional drummers in this business we call music. So stick around and join us as we pass the time whilst trying to stay in time.
An evening with Ray Parler and Paul Merson, and I was like,
I'd go to that. I'd go to that over your gig any day.
yeah, I know you would.
We're going to start this episode with a big yawn.
Yeah.
6 a.m. Thursday morning for you.
It's not
but for us.
It's
No, for us.
9:15.
We are knackered, and it's 9:15 on Monday morning. We're both at home, at our own homes, and George is in a dressing gown. Yeah, for some reason.
Why is that shocking? Yeah, I'm always in a dressing gown. I live in a dressing gown, to be honest. If I think I'd make a very good, drunk in later life who's just always in a dressing gown. People just go, that's what he does. Just try not to sit at an angle when he's sat down because he doesn't wear anything underneath, dressing gown. And I wouldn't try and cover up, I think I'd just be like, this is how it is. I think if you're going to wear a dressing gown and all the time, commit to it. Don't wear it and go, oh, sorry, let me just make sure I'm... No, it's, if you see something, then you get out of the house. Do you know what I mean?
The cards fall where they're dealt. And if you're hanging brain, it's not your problem. It's the problem of the people looking, isn't it? No, I think you could go down definitely a route of like having a house that's just always sort of open. People just...
What, me specifically?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I love that idea. Yeah,
your house is always sort of... There's always people around. Yet you're lonely, and but physically you're just in a dressing gown because you've been doing all your CrossFit and that, but you've been counteracting that with lots of alcohol and chain on the old chaining.
There's some new thing with
and then you're not full Iggy Pop, but you're that sort of slim, muscular, but dripping. Do you know what I mean? Like the skin's sort of detaching itself from the muscle, but there is still an element of frame underneath, and sort of you've gone a little bit leathery from the Brighton sun.
Yeah.
You just,
God, I can totally see that.
Yeah.
And people around, but as soon as they're gone, I'm very lonely.
Yeah. You've not worn a proper shoe for 8 years. You're down there. You're just going to the co-op, dressing gown, flip flops or slippers or something. You don't care. Yet you put sunglasses on. So
yeah, and a different hat every day.
Yeah.
All very possible ideas, And people go, oh, he should settle down. It's like, he's 54 now. I think that ship sailed, But he seems happy, and then he goes, does he?
He made his money.
It's okay.
His 49% share of Drum and Drummer.
Right.
He's made his
what
cash.
should we talk about?
Well, you've been a busy boy.
I've been a busy boy.
This is a drumming podcast, as we often try and convince ourselves. You've been doing some gigs.
Yeah, I mean, this is the perfect episode to actually just talk drums. Let's start. Let's do it. Does chronological mean
time?
Like date? Time. Let's go in chronological order.
Yeah.
So, I had the 80s gig 2 weeks ago.
Right. Yes. This was a sold out 80s hi-fi gig.
Sold out, but also people were buying tickets when they got there, with Tom Turner just absolutely not giving a shit that people wanted to get in. There was one guy that turned up in soundcheck, just wandered in. Hi, are there any tickets left for this evening? Tom goes, nah, mate, sold out. And he's like, oh, are you sure? He's like, okay, 20 quid each, And then the guy was like, okay, cool, that's fine, And then it kept happening. We kept selling more on the door because I think the idea was, even though it's sold out online, sold out way in advance, people forget, I think it was like 130 capacity. And sure enough, the room was packed, but it was like, there was room, so you can sort of do that. So anyway, it was quite
I'm trying to get my head around this ticketing system because Right. So I think it's like an airplane. They sell more tickets than they have seats.
Yeah.
And they are relying on people not turning up.
That's
basically.
pretty much the 80s gig, yeah.
So do you think there was an element, I'm not calling the authorities on you, don't worry about it.
No.
But do you think there's a bit like,
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a crush?
So is there going to be, a crush? I
think they've done it enough to know, very good, to know that you can kind of sell a few more on the door and it'll be all right. And
cool.
It was fine.
So it's not sold out then, is it?
Well, it's weird because it is sold out.
And is that just a ploy to create
No, it was
demand?
sold out. No. Don't take away my my glory. Online, there were no tickets left. But yeah, no. Do you mean what in terms of like how many people you can get in the room?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There might be returns and things, so people come and return their tickets. So I get that. But if he's just going, 20 quid and I'll get you in. I mean,
but what? I don't know. But here's a question. When it's just a standing room, who makes the rule of?
I think the
130
council,
people,
the fire department.
Is it? Yeah.
It'll be a safe.
Okay.
There'll be a safe capacity number.
Yeah, but when you're playing Duran,
then safety goes out the window.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get to the playing, shall we? So first of all, it was all Ableton this time. Before it used to be a little bit backing track and a little bit live, baby. But this was a whole new Ableton rig, and also they synced up Ableton. Dan, the master of all this, synced up Ableton with some stuff on screens behind, which was very cool. I used my Gretsch Catalina Club, which was nice. Club. Just because it's smaller and it did the job. The annoying thing is, though, this has happened on 2 gigs recently, the kick isn't punchy enough. You know what I mean?
Right, okay.
So when I
used to turn up... It's an 18, isn't it?
Because it's an 18. When I used to turn up with my Tama Star Classic, people would be like, Jesus, don't even know if I need a mic for that. Might have to turn it down, if anything. Yeah. Whereas this, they're like, okay, I'm gonna have to do something. But the gig was great. Very much enjoyed it. Someone called Paul from my old work came along, which was very nice of him to turn up. And Jack Hall was there. Yeah. Remember Jack Hall? Some mates from CrossFit. That was funny. Some mates from CrossFit came along. And this is interesting. I think in our world, we're so used to being around musicians all the time that you just assume people know shit, They just know shit about music. And there was this girl from CrossFit, and I was like, do you want to see my drum kit? She's like, yeah, cool. That's a good line. Good as line as
and
any.
Then you opened the dressing gown. No. No, it's 2025. Behaviour is always appropriate.
Wait till 2026, though. No, so I said, do you want to see my drum kit? And I was like, do you know, try not to be patronising or mansplaining, do you know any of the names of a drum kit? And she said no. And I went, what? That's mental, So I was like, well, there's your kick drum, there's your snare, and, I said, do you know what these metal-looking things are? She was like, no, I have no clue. I was like, fuck, you don't even know cymbals? Like, cymbals,
Yeah.
But it's interesting, isn't it?
And then
Some people just
don't spell it. S-Y. No, you see.
No. You're wrong. Anyway, the gig itself was great. Crowd always up for it. I was talking about this to someone. If you do an 80s night, the people that come along, they're in their 40s, their 50s. They're the people going to gigs, Like, if you try and get someone in their 20s or 30s along, do you want to see my... Oh, yeah, I might be busy. Oh, how much is it? 2 quid? No, I'm not going to go there. Yeah. Whereas if you say to someone in their 40s or 50s...
You are truly in your 30s now, George.
Yeah,
Loving it.
It's
talking about the youths.
Oh, my God, it's ridiculous.
No, you're right, because,
I
I think you're right.
When I was young, I was out all the time.
40s and 50s are the only ones with money, basically. And... look at the... as you know, I'm a bit of a connoisseur, a bit of a collector of the old Lego. Well, there's so many sets are targeted at adults.
Yeah.
Because they're the only ones who could afford it.
Yeah,
Little Timmy ain't buying shit, mate, with his pocket money.
No.
how's he buying Jabba the Hutt's ship? It's 400 quid.
Yeah.
What's he?
Yeah.
He's got to wash a lot of cars.
Yeah, this is it.
For that. But anyway, I find it interesting. It's not really, I guess, I don't think it's something I've ever sort of been a part of where it's a covers band, but the gig is almost like an originals gig.
Yeah. Do
you see what I mean? Like, I do functions and weddings.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. But it's sort of, it's different, isn't it?
It is different.
It's different. It's not a ticketed event. People pay to come and see.
Yeah.
How does it work then in terms of timings? I want to know the sort of timings. If I'm paying 20 quid for an illegal ticket to this fire hazard rave, then what time am I turning up? What time is the ticket?
Doors at 7:30, and then I don't even know if it was advertised. I think it was advertised doors at 7:30, but it's like there's a pub and then there's the venue, so you can kind of mill about, so there's no rush as long as you're there at 7:30. And then we were due to be on at 8:30, I think, and I think we went on at 8:30, and then we play an hour-ish, and then have a 20-minute break, and then play another hour-ish,
and then
so we're done by 11. Yeah.
And then, so is there like music playing before?
No, yeah, we put on like so
there's no other bands
DJ.
Or anything. It's just
no, a DJ playlist. That was quite funny in itself, actually. I was talking to Paul's girlfriend, and she was like, "Oh, so you the first band on there?" And I was like, "No, this is it. This is if you're expecting another band."
Buck your ideas up, love. You might be able to do 10 push-ups.
No, this isn't the CrossFit couple.
Oh,
very different couple. But yeah, I like the energy.
You might be able to look after children in care. But
nope.
No,
that's him. But yeah.
Right.
What does she? I can't remember what she does. Let's say she's a baker. Let's go with that. And then give the same energy.
Strayed so far from your reality there. You might know how to
you might be able to bake bread. Yeah.
You might know how to change a tire, change oil in a car's engine. You might know how to get man on the moon.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this: people are paid to come see me. I ain't no first band on. I'm the real deal. I'm the big time here.
Yeah.
So,
which, do you know what? It is nice to do something like that because you take it for granted. You just set your kit up and then that's that. There's no, can I borrow your cymbals? On a kit share at Icebreaker or something, So, gig was great. And,
what time
it was
does
nice as
the
well.
night finish? What time does everyone fuck off?
About 11. But afterwards, I was sort of in no rush to get back because always when I did those gigs, I'd always have work the next day, so I'd have to rush. But I was like, I'm in no rush. And there's kind of no rush from the bar to kick you out. Like, places open till 1, so I sort of do a slow pack down. I've never wanted to pack down my kit any less. Jack had to help me morale-wise to actually do it because I was like, I'm done. I'm fucking done. Stayed for a drink with Dean. Then we went to Molly Malone's and got in at like 3. And then my housemate was having the party. That was that night.
Oh yeah.
And I managed to miss the whole thing. Apparently there'd been like 20 people in the gaff. But when I got back, it was just her and 2 people doing karaoke.
Had anyone been in your room?
I don't know. I did sort of move my MacBook so it wasn't obvious if anyone wanted to nick it, I think you'll find I came to this party with this MacBook, mate. I did, so I didn't want that. But I don't think so. It wasn't like Peep Show where Jeff was in Mark's bed with a woman.
No one bought a snake.
No one bought a snake. No, if anything, I kind of got back expecting it to be a bit mad, but I was like, there's no mess. There's no, she didn't even set up puke points, you know what I mean? So, so she knew it wasn't going to be mad. So that was that gig. So that was cool. It was a great night.
How did you play? How did you feel you played?
Really good. Not being arrogant. Proud. For me,
Can I just
felt
say
like,
as well, I saw a little reel, I think. Someone had filmed here, put in. I didn't realise I know people were buying tickets to see the 80s band. I didn't realise they were buying tickets to see the gun show.
I knew you. As soon as you said tickets, I was like, is he going to say that? Yeah, I know.
Hey?
Yeah, well, I'd done CrossFit
paying off,
that day. Yeah.
Chain. That always helps. Suppress
Can we
the
say
appetite.
what the chain thing is?
Nope.
It means
No.
chain. Oh, okay.
People will work it out.
Yeah.
Getting ripped, boy.
Yeah, well, if you go to CrossFit every day, then you might grow some muscles. No, playing felt great. It was just, and it's the 3 M's: mates, money, and music. And I enjoy playing with that band. Vibe well with them. It was.
Are you still in the capacity of Depp?
Yeah, still very much the Depp, because they had a gig the following week. Which, this is funny. They had a gig at what will always to me be called the Havant Arts Centre, but it's now called the Spring or some shit. But they had a gig there, and it was the original drummer on it. But my parents went because it was just down the road. They were like, "Oh, we'll go and see the band."
I'm not even on this one, Amanda.
I know. They didn't come to the one I was on, and then they went to the one I wasn't on. But they did see me the next night at a gig I may as well talk about now. Then I could.
Sure, let's move on.
Shit.
Yeah.
Pointless gig. Actually, no, we'll talk about the shit one quick. No, it seems harsh saying shit, but it was. Just because, not slagging off who I was playing with or do any, like, I'm not saying not grateful for the show or whatever, but it was a cajon acoustic gig in Market Halls, Oxford Street. You ever been to a Market Halls where it's just like loads of restaurants in an area? You sort of sit down. I don't know. It's like it's just It's hard to explain, but anyway, it was Valentine's Day.
So it's sort of like the subtropical swimming paradise in Centre Parks. It's just restaurants. And you just sort of that sort of thing.
Yeah, and
let's go with that.
But it was Valentine's Day, and it is not a romantic place. Market Halls, Oxford Street. So there wasn't that many people there, and then it just kind of got less and less as we were playing, and it was we were playing for longer than I knew. It was like 3 45-minute sets over 3 hours. Is that right? Yeah. And and yeah, it was fine. It was with this artist called.
Were you just doing like love tunes and that?
Yeah, but the thing is, she doesn't tell me the set list. It's very sort of like, just join in, just get the idea.
Yeah, and that can easily be done on the cajon, and it
very easily be done.
It can confuse you. I do con stuff, don't we, with the weddings? Do the afternoon set, and I've got charts and things, but a lot of the time it's like they could play anything, charts. And I could just join in.
Yeah,
I really, it is mental. I'm on the same page.
Yeah,
but in a way, it does feel like you can kind of kill your own sort of, I don't know, enthusiasm, but like kill your own buzz, because you're like, I didn't even have to try. I'm not having to think. No. There's been no prep. I'm just getting away with it. And then you're like, can anybody just do this? Does this take away any sort of, you have to have belief in your ability and confidence. I'm sure when you're doing the 80s gig, you're like, I've done my homework, I'm playing well, I've curated this situation of practice, musicianship, and knowing these people and working and learning and charting and doing all that, and I've earned my place here and I'm enjoying it. MMM. Next day you're just slapping cajon for a bit with no. Yeah. You do feel like, shall I just go? Because I don't think this is help. I don't think this is making anything. I
watched the video back on her Instagram afterwards, and I wasn't even in the frame. It was her and.
Can we cut it before the fat little cajon player gets his head in there? Yeah,
exactly. But it was fine. It was fine. But it's fine. But it does get a bit soul destroying. Even she said it. This is what I mean by shit. I'm not slagging her off or anything, because she said the same thing. Like at the end, like she almost had to be like, okay, thanks, bye, just before the last person left. They're like cleaning down the tables and we're playing to no one, to the point where we just played the first set again, and she just played a lot of her own stuff, which was kind of more fun. But yeah, I got there on the train, and then as soon as we were done, tube back to Victoria, on the train by 10, back home, like it hadn't happened at all, and then you're just like, cool. That's
a low, I don't know, it needs to be a phrase like a low impact gig.
Yeah, very, very
low impact.
Well, even when I said to her, I was trying to act like I cared. Nah, that sounds rude. No, I was trying to say like, oh, I tried to, rehearse for this in some way, and she was like, oh my God, no, don't bother. No, it's just jam it. It's fine. So I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Because it is that, It is just, as long as you make eye contact for the end of the song, it's all good.
And then at your, when you're 54 and your sinewy, muscly body, and you just be like, chain, and people around, and you just whip out a cajon, and then you get in the cajon position, tackle out, just flopping.
Just...
Because there's not a... and you're like, oh, don't practice. And then she's like, no, you don't need to practice. And then you turn up to the next gig in your dressing gown. Just
if
open
you were to
up
play
their legs
cajon,
to get the cajon.
I'm trying to picture...
How's he getting 3 beats out of this?
I'm trying to picture where your testes would go if you were to play a cajon. Like whether they'd hang over the top or whether they'd sort of sit nestled. This is a great...
I think possibly the way I sit, I'm just on my chair trying to do it, I think it'd probably be one on, one off. I think
really?
I think the
that seems like
I'm sort of at an angle. the edge of the front of the cajon, I think, would dissect via the seam. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And then the little chap can go either way.
Knob or bollock. Yeah. Fuck. So anyway, the next night I had quite a stressful gig in comparison. It was this theatre show that I keep banging on about. Even though I'd rehearsed, I still didn't feel fully confident. And
right, yeah. So this is the soul gig in the theatre where you've done some rehearsals and you arrogantly got to the point. I'm joking. Where you're like,
no, but you are
if I do
right.
too much practice, I'll lose my buzz. I've got to keep.
Yeah, no. What was it? Where it's I turned up to the second rehearsal thinking, well, the first one went so well. I'm going to be cool. But I was knackered because we'd done 2 gigs the night before. But yeah, I practiced throughout the week, but it was still like, it still felt kind of unknown. And I think it was just nerves. And it had been a while since I've been nervous for a gig. And it was quite weird.
I'm just trying to, do you think, like, I'm trying to analyse, get to the nub. Do you think there's an element of, do you think there's an element of like, what played a factor in nervousness? And like,
I can tell you. First of all, I'd never actually played a gig with this band before, so it was like the first gig. So I think even
that's what I'm thinking. Unfamiliarity with the fellow musicians.
Yeah, very much so. We hadn't got to the point where we were gelling. I gel with Dan, the keys player, because I play with him in 80s, but guitarists and bassists and the BVs, it's kind of new, so I'm sort of trying to find... It's not like playing with Dean, where you're just having a laugh,
Sure.
So there's that. Also, we're used to doing these wedding gigs and stuff, and 90% of the set is the same every time. So you can kind of look at it and go, I know all that, Whereas this, pretty much every tune was different. Also the fact...
Size of the venue? The venue?
Yeah,
did that play?
It's in a bigger room. But for whatever reason, even, we'd done a sound check and then I kind of went through the set, or as much as I could, before the gig, because we had quite a long time before the gig, and was really just like, fuck, like, and there was a part of me like, do I actually know this? Even like the count-ins of tunes, like, am I going to get to a tune and count it in completely way too fast or way too slow? So it was weird to have that sort of feeling. And what was also tough about it was there was sort of no point in the set where you go, oh, okay, I can relax now. Let's take a function gig, for example. You might be playing with a band you don't know, and they might have some weird songs, but the last 6 or 7 you played a million times, and you're like, okay, it's Mr. Brightside, don't look back. It's fine.
You have the waves of all this bits. That's the tricky few songs, and then I'm on the home straight.
Exactly.
I bet you look good on the dance floor. I predict a riot. Mr. Brightside, blown back in anger. I'll see you home, boys.
Yeah, this is it. There was no
follow
home
me
straight.
to freedom.
Yeah, up until the last song, I was still like, oh, fuck, what is this bit, you know? And just trying to make eye contact with the band, but they're all looking ahead, and I'm like, come on, someone cue me, you know, or we've all got to end at the same time. But it all went well, you know, the bands were happy, and my parents came along, which was very sweet. And the crowd seemed to enjoy it. And it was nice to be playing to a big room, you know. Well, not big in the grand scheme. It's not the O2, but, you know, bigger than usual. And just, I don't know, I like that because it's rare that I play theatres, but I do like just sort of sitting there when there's like a song where I'm not playing and sort of like, oh, it's quite cool, isn't it? You know, sort of looking around like, wow.
Yeah.
And the bits that I enjoy is where it's just drums. Say everyone drops out for a sec and there's just drums and you can hear it echoing back and you're like, fuck yeah, listen to that snare. Oh, mama. But yeah.
Thank you, Ben Aldred, for the skins.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Did
you use your Catalina Club?
I did. So this is where I went, should have used the bigger boy. I was chatting to the... I used it because it was in the car, and it would have been... My Tama at the moment is at my parents' house due to getting a new studio and not having the space for it in the flat. And we'll get to a new studio in a minute. And I was like, oh, should I go and get the big boy? And I didn't. And
lazy.
It was fine. The guy was like, you know, I'm going to put 2 mics in that, you know, and boost it a bit. But it was like, in hindsight, I wish I took the bigger one. But I know for next time. You know, I always said, like, use the big one on bigger gigs and then the small one for pub or functions. But I think that was like, let's see if I can get away with it. And actually, I should have just gone and got it. But trying to think if there's any standout moments.
Because it's a theatre show, everyone sat down, right?
Oh yeah, that's weird in itself. Everyone sat down, and it wasn't until like the last few songs where the singer was like, "Right, you can get up and dance." And as soon as they did, you can
get up.
Yeah, you can sort of relax because it's weird because you're playing. You know, you take your ears out, and they are, you know, they do applaud at the end of the songs, but during songs, it's just you're sat there just watching, you know, and you're like, this is weird. But thankfully, it was like the lights weren't really on the cracks, so you couldn't really see them. But when they bring the lights up and you see everyone just staring at you, like, fuck, this is...
It's funny, isn't it? Those events where people actually pay to see you.
Well,
yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Because you think it would happen more often, but it really doesn't.
No.
Where like, and maybe, you know, that's only from my perspective, but you know, most of the gigs, I've ever done, I guess, are weddings or functions where someone's booked you to entertain the people who are coming. They've not paid because you're playing, you know. You're just entertainment, aren't you? You know, and then you probably think over the years, you've got to think, well, the majority of gigs are support slots with originals music. So again, there'll be the odd people who come and support you, you know, but ultimately they've come to see maybe the headliner.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite... Did a lot of Gypsy Hill where we were like the only band, but again, that was more they were coming for the whole event. Or we did so many festivals. Again, people are there. So it's... Did that feel good? Did you feel that sort of like... Did you think that maybe that right,
adds
here's
to the
thing.
pressure.
Did it the 80s? Did that, because of your familiarity with the musicians, the music, the vibe, did that build you up? Give you confidence? Was that like a badge of honour? You know, like people are paid to come and see this and I'm part of this, and you know, not full time, but you know,
absolutely.
And a theatre gig, less familiar surroundings, musicians, less familiar music. Fuck, people are paid to come see this and I'm part of it.
Yeah,
pressures.
Definitely.
Where pressures come on gigs, it's different. It's different for everyone. It's different for every gig. It's interesting. Again, juggle, analyse where are these pressures coming from. What can I do to alleviate it?
I think it was that, and I think as not putting the soul band down in any way. And I know Dan listens to this, but he probably understand me saying this. The 80s band feels like a band. You know, it feels like a group of 5 people who all get on. They all know each other's lives. We all, you know. Whereas the soul band, it was like I'd only really just met them, so it didn't feel like, come on guys, let's go and do a show, you know. And also the singer had been struggling that day, you know. She was quite unwell, so it was kind of like touch and go whether she could even do it. So I think, you know, all the backing singers were like focused on her, and then the other guys would be doing bits and bobs. So like before we went on, it wasn't like we were all like a group, like, come on, let's go. I was just chatting to the sound man because I thought he was quite cool. Like, he was this dude, he went to BIM and the lighting girl, and I was just chatting with them, you know. So that was different in itself. And I think also, yeah, I think there is that pressure because you know how much tickets cost, and you know that this is someone's night out, you know, and they might have been looking forward to this for a while. But it's quite a nice pressure, but you do sort of, it is different to a gig where people haven't come to see you because it's like, oh, this is the main event, and they might have, I don't know, got a babysitter, or they might have had to do something, or this is our first night out of the new year or whatever, you know, and we better be good.
Yeah, or we're, you know, someone bought this for Christmas and we sort of have to go. You know,
yeah, because 90% of the tickets, yeah.
It's not even the drummer in the photos.
Do you know? Yeah. Do you know what's funny? My dad took a photo of it was the posters on the wall in the venue, and it had Soul of a Woman in the middle. On the left, Psychic Sally, and then on the right, An Evening with Ray Parlour and Paul Merson. And I was
I'd go to that. I'd go to that over your gig any day.
Yeah, I know you would.
Arsenal legends, mate.
But I was like, I got a long way to go if that's what I'm competing with. But but yeah, no, there was a sort of pressure, and there was a, I don't know, it felt more like work, I think. But I think that's fine.
A bit more of a
I'll say one more thing. I had to ask her. I said, like, how do I? Because we'd rehearsed the songs, obviously, but it was very much like, okay, let's try this song, and then we'd stop and chat for a bit, and then we'd do another, you know. And I said, what's the flow of the show? Because I was aware that I started most of the.
Good question to ask.
Very good question, because I thought, you know, you and I are in function band land, where it's just like the second you finished one, I don't care if Baz is tuning his bass or Archie's getting a drink, straight in, you know. That's what we've been taught. And she was like, oh, I'll talk between the songs, and she did, and it was quite nice. She kind of like had something to say about, like, it was kind of
pad out that set.
Yeah, there was some, like, we
only played 8 songs, show lasted 3 hours.
Do you know what what is it, HTC is? Some hormone thing for
HTC
women?
Is it something
women listening to this will be like, yes, we know, but as men,
yeah. Is it some sort of help with the menopause?
Yeah, so she started talking about that at some point.
HRT,
that was it. And
I think you know, I've just Peter Kay. There's a bit of Peter Kay's one of his stand-ups where he talks about
it's
my HRT. It's my HRT.
Oh yeah.
He talks about his mum. Yeah.
Yes, that was it. So she started talking about that at one point, and the whole crowd's laughing because that's the demographic, you know.
Because no one in there is below 50.
No, exactly. Yeah. It's all the people. But I'll say one last thing. What was nice,
and all the lads are coming back the next night for Ray Parlour and Paul Merson. 3rd
of March, if you want to go, we can take.
What his and hers weekend that could be in East Grinstead. You go see Soul of a Woman. I'm going to see Paul Merson.
Yeah. Apparently they do have a lot of psychics there. I was talking to this lighting girl, and I was saying, like, oh, I see you got a poster for a psychic show that happened, and she was like, yeah, he was rubbish. And I was like, well, they're all rubbish, aren't they? It's all made up. She's like, no, but this guy was like, sounded like he was gaslighting the audience, like, I hear you've had someone unwell in the family, haven't you? It was like Phoenix Nights. No, I haven't. No, you have, you know. Psychic wants to know what time he's on. Well, if he's any good, he'll know. Last thing I'll say is before the gig, I really like this. It's a weird thing. Just all the people in the foyer, just milling, having drinks, and you could hear the noise of conversation, and you were like,
the buzz, the murmur.
The buzz, the murmur, because, you know, we've been to gigs before, and you hear that buzz and the murmur, and then, everyone, go in, it's about to start, you know. So I like that. I like that the buzz and murmur was for, not me, but, you know, sort of, I was part of it. Yeah, that's enough about that. And then, yeah, I told you about the
lovely.
shitty cajon gig, but it's been a nice mix of stuff. Oh, and I've got a new studio, so that's cool.
Oh yeah.
So, literally next to CrossFit in the same industrial estate, there's a place. I've got a room, nice little room. I'm pretty sure it's the same place as Connor McCorkindale's got a place. I haven't asked him yet.
Connor O'Connor.
So that'd be nice. So I can finally get a kit set up in a room again.
Is it a space specifically for drummers, or is it just?
No, it's like
for musicians though, right?
I think he said, the guy I was talking to, Dennis, said it's mainly drummers and producers. So and you just hire
and you
out
just
a
get
room.
a blank room and soundproof room, and you can do what you want.
Do what you want.
Do you have 24/7 access?
24/7 access. You can play between the hours of 8 a.m. and 11 p.m., which is fine.
That's fine.
I'm not going to be playing after that. But you can access it any time. And yeah, should be good.
Lovely.
So yeah. So, less of the same.
Yeah.
Right, anything else?
Keep up the doodling.
Anything else to discuss?
Not really. I mean, we've done a lovely good chunk on your gigs, which is good, as you say, a smorgasbord of drumming performances. And I think that goes to show, it just goes to show, no matter what big gig you do, you're most likely done a shit one the night before. Do you know what I mean? Or like,
yeah.
You can't, all musicians, barring a very few select, will be continuously at a level. Do you know what I mean? Of like a good, as was it? Jack did Wembley, and then did a function.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. And you'll see these people on stage, and Bob Knight, he's doing big tours, and he's just down a pub.
Yeah, exactly.
Playing,
Yeah,
and that's
and
it.
I will say,
and you can even Dean. We chatted to Dean, and he's playing in the fucking hairdressers.
Yeah.
And then he's playing with Paul Weller.
Yeah.
Supporting Paul Weller. You know, and that's the life of a musician, isn't it? It's up and down. But is it up and down? Is it straight across? And is it sideways?
Right, I'm going to cut you off before you keep going with that up and down analogy. I think also it's... I think that's why it is important to have like a foundation. I think I used to have this naive view that, you just get on a tour and then that's it. You're good for life. First of all, hasn't happened, but also to speaking to other drummers who are, levels above me, they go off and do something and then they come back, and you got to have something to do when you come back. Hence the studio. Hence, it's weird. I am allowed to teach out of there.
What are your plans?
I am allowed to teach out of there, but you're not allowed to. Basically, it's not meant to be a business which has other businesses running from it. So I don't know whether. I'll say all this and we can cut it out. But I said to the guy, what are you going to use the studio for? I was like, like drum teaching? He was like, right, so here's the deal. You're not really meant to have businesses within this business. So are you going to be doing like solo drum practice and stuff like that? And I was like, yeah, I'll be doing that as well. He's like, okay, cool. So you're using it for solo drum practice? I was like, yep. He's like, well, then that's fine. And then he showed me the room that I ended up getting. He was like, this room, we used to have people teaching in there all the time. You could get 2 kits in there if you want to teach. So I was like, right, okay, I got it. So I will be teaching.
Yeah, it will be a contradiction of his lease.
But on the sly. So that's the plan. And then, let's not talk about all my plans, but there's a lot in the works of music.
Just more of the same, isn't it? More of the same.
That's it. Yeah. It's all good. Yeah.
Do you want to... You mentioned at the start, maybe before we hit record, you went to talk about Birdman.
Oh, fucking hell, Birdman, yeah. Every morning... Have I said this, the birds?
I can't remember. I tune in and out.
I'll say it again. Yesterday morning, I woke up at 6:30. Fucking hell, those birds are loud.
That's early.
But...
Yeah, you said there's loads of birds.
Yeah. I filmed it again. Do you want me to send you the video? I'll send you the video. You can cut this out.
I mean, that is a lot of birds.
It's a lot of birds, isn't it?
That is more than 10.
That was yesterday morning. And then this morning, same thing. I woke up hearing birds. I went, right, I'm going to see this fucker. Who is this person that keeps feeding birds? And I watched him. It's this guy. He wears a face mask for some reason, like a COVID face mask, not like a weird, killer one. But he just goes out with a big sack of bird seed and just launches it into the same spot. And then the seagulls just know, and it was 7 a.m. And then it's so loud. And I'm like, should I go out there at 5 to 7 tomorrow and be like, right, what are you doing? This is mental. It's so loud. Because there's suddenly like about 100 seagulls. Yeah. And they're not known for being quiet.
But if you can get it a couple more times on film, get it to the local council.
I will. So this is mental. What is he doing? Just do it at 10 a.m. Why are you feeding them? Like seagulls are fine. Seagulls will eat
so
anything.
many chips on Brighton seafront.
Yeah, literally. You don't
ice
need
cream,
to feed seagulls.
hot dogs, loads of shit. Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, there's a lot of birds.
There's a lot of birds.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Good. Should we wrap up?
Yeah, let's wrap up.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Get in touch via email, drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram @drumanddrummerpodcast. Like and subscribe. Hit the follow button, the download button. Give us 5 stars. Keep this podcast spreading like a good jam. And still, if you haven't, please, I'd really appreciate if you went to portsmouthmusicawards.com/vote and give your vote for the Old Blacksmith Studios at the very least. Apparently it's been revealed that there is an award, a separate award for the nominee with the most public votes, because it's not only public vote, it's judges who will decide the winner of each category. But then out of everyone nominated in the whole thing, it's a little award for the most public votes. So if you haven't done so, I'd really appreciate it. It'd be very kind of you to do so. And with that, we shall say goodbye. Guten Abend, mein Freund. Alles klar wie geht's. See you next week. Bye, George.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Drum and Drummer. You can find us on Instagram at Drum and Drummer Podcast. And you can send us an email to drumanddrummerpod@gmail.com. Remember, just pick up the sticks and twat it.